Go ahead.
Hi, this is Kelly. I'm here to show you how to make the faux fur pom-poms. And first of all, let's talk about the supplies that we need to be able to make our own pom-poms. Number one, we need some faux fur, and this is a polyester faux fur, and so it's not machine washable. And you can buy it at Joann Fabrics or anywhere like that. And you're looking for something that's kind of fluffy, with fairly long hair on it. So, and then when you go to cut this out, what I've done here is I've made templates, and I just out of a piece of cardboard, and then I measured them across. So this is a 2-inch one, and a 3.5, 4.5, and a 5.5. And so I would just lay them out on my faux fur and then use my Sharpie and go ahead and mark around it and then cut with the scissors. When you cut the faux fur, you have to have a very sharp scissors, and I have these Fiskars, and they work great. But you would go ahead and you would cut, and what you're trying to do is cut the actual fabric part of it without cutting the actual fur. So if you were to cut this and you cut through the whole thing instead of just cutting right at the very edge, you would cut your fur. The fur would get chopped off. So you want to try and limit that. So if you just go along and cut the very edge of it, then you will keep from cutting this fur that is going to be made into our pom-pom. So we want to keep that intact. And you can see here the couple different samples that I have. This one is a shorter length of hair, and it would make a pom-pom that looks like that. Okay, and then the longer haired ones make pom-poms that look like that. So there's all different kinds of pom-poms that you can make with it, and in various sizes. So this is the faux fur that we use. Also, when you're making these, you need to fill them with some poly fiber fill. And this is, you can buy this at any fabric store or anything like that, and it looks like this, and you would fill the inside of the pom-pom with it. So when another thing that we would need is we would need a comb. When we're all done, we comb the pom-poms out to make the hair fluff up. And this is just a comb that you would use for a dog grooming comb. And then you would also need a tapestry needle, and you want the tapestry needle to have a very sharp point on it, because the being able to get it to go through the faux fur it's kind of thick, so you need a sharp point on it. And this is Ultra Alpaca Light, and I just measured an arm's length or so. And then I would go ahead and thread my needle, and we're just going to be basting around the edge. Oops. We're just going to be basting around the edge of our little circle that we have that we're going to be making into our pom-pom. So let me just grab a piece here. And I use the thicker Ultra Alpaca because using thread was a little harder to work with, and it seemed like it slipped and it was harder to tie it in a knot. And so I'm just going like a 1/4 inch from the edge or so. And just going to go ahead and baste around that edge. You don't want to get too close to the edge, because what will happen is it could rip out if you get too close to the edge, and you don't want, it's weaker over here on the very edge, so you don't want to get too close to the edge when you're making your pom-pom, but you don't want to get too far away either, because that will make bulk on it that won't make your pom-pom look that great. So as you can see, I'm just basting around here, and we just keep going around and around, and pull it through. There you go, and you can see it's already starting to gather on its own. Well, that's pretty cool. But these pom-poms are kind of fun to make, and they're not very expensive. If you buy the supplies and make your own, you can almost always get a coupon at Joann's, and so You can make quite a few of these and it's relatively inexpensive. So then you would just tighten it up a little bit, and then you just grab some bits of your poly fiber fill and you would go ahead and put it in here. And you want it to be, you don't want it to be filled so tight that it is stiff, but at the same time you want your pom-pom to be full. And so you just want to put it in here. And that's pretty cool. So we can tighten it up a little bit. Also, a word of advice, the yarn, if you pull on the yarn too tight, you can break it. And you don't want to do that. So when you're pulling on it, just give it a second to tighten up, and don't yank on it too hard, because you don't want to pull that nice basting stitch and have to do it over. And then, so I'm just holding it gently and just letting it pull tight, and then it'll just kind of stay there on its own. And then you do a square knot at the top of it and just crisscross, and then tie it the other way. I like to do it 2 or 3 times to make sure it's good and tight. And there you go. And then you would take your comb and start combing it out, because remember where you basted all the way along the edge, it catches hair as it goes. So you don't want that hair to be stuck where it was basted. So you just fluff it and pull it out again. So you have a nice full pom-pom and it looks really pretty. And then you can put these on your hats, you can use them to decorate all kinds of things. It's absolutely gorgeous. So pretty. Let me show you what the finished product looks like. Isn't that cute? So that's how you make your own fur pom-poms. Hope you enjoyed this.